International human rights lawyer Toby Cadman, who joins us from London. Thanks for being on the program with us today. How difficult is it to prosecute war crimes and crimes against humanity in this particular case, since some participants in the trial have taken part remotely due to the COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you. I think a case like this is difficult to prosecute in normal circumstances, and is obviously being made all the more difficult because of coronavirus. I think that the ICC has taken great steps to make sure that everything is in place so that the trial can proceed safely. But of course, it makes it very difficult for victims, civil society to participate. And as we've seen already this morning, it's one of the challenges that has raised that wasn't expected is that his defense have now said that he's not fit to stand trial. So as we've seen, it got started and it stopped. And so we have to wait and see how things proceed today. But obviously, the ICC has recognized that justice must continue, and this is a very significant case.
Al-Hassan is the second person from Mali who is on trial at the ICC for the war crime of destroying historical and religious monuments. Is this the beginning of the end of impunity of similar crimes, which have also taken place in Iraq and Syria carried out by Daesh?
Well, I think we would want to hope that this is the beginning of the end of such impunity. I think, unfortunately, that's not a realistic aspiration at this time, because there are still the lack of jurisdiction to deal with the situation in Syria and Iraq for these types of crimes, and indeed any of the crimes that have been committed in Syria, Iraq, and also in Yemen. So I think that to hope that this will bring an end to the impunity of extremist groups is unrealistic, but I think it is also a very, very important message to send. And let's not forget, this is not just about the destruction of cultural monuments, as important as that is. That's not the only matter that's being dealt with here. There's also the situation of the other crimes that are being dealt with, such as rape, sexual violence, and the so-called jihad police. So it's a really, really important case to deal with.
How have human rights been affected by the destruction of historical monuments in Timbuktu?
Well, I think what we've seen in Timbuktu, certainly from the first case, and we've seen more recently, since the jihadists have been effectively removed from the area, the reconstruction has started. So I think it is important to understand that has played an important role in sort of reconstruction efforts and sort of establishing some kind of normality in Timbuktu. But I think the destruction of cultural monuments is a very important part of the extremist ideology. And I think holding them to account for that is, of course, an important tool in the fight against extremism and breaking down the power of these groups that they have in their ideology and propaganda. So I think, whilst the sentence this individual may get if convicted, likely to be convicted, is not the most significant sentence, I think it's the message that is sent to those engaging in this and supporting this.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Toby Cadman in London, thank you so much for your insight.